Varangian Guard, elite warriors of the Byzantine Empire. The Varangian Guard was an elite unit of the Byzantine army from the 10th to the 14th centuries CE, serving as personal bodyguards to the Byzantine Emperors. Composed primarily of Norsemen from Scandinavia initially, and later including Anglo-Saxons and other Europeans, the Guard was renowned for its fierce loyalty and formidable fighting skills. The establishment of the Varangian Guard is attributed to Emperor Basil II in 988 CE, following his recruitment of warrior mercenaries from Rus, a region of Viking settlers in what is now Russia and Ukraine. Chapter 1. Origins and recruitment of the Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard originated in the late 10th century CE, when Emperor Basil II formed an alliance with the Rus, a group of Norsemen who had established themselves in Eastern Europe. This alliance was cemented through the recruitment of these warriors following Basil's request for military assistance to help stabilize his reign and suppress internal revolts. The formation of the Varangian Guard marked a significant point in the relationship between the Norse peoples and the Byzantine Empire, intertwining Scandinavian martial prowess with Byzantine imperial aspirations. Recruitment for the Varangian Guard was strategically targeted, appealing primarily to Norsemen and later to Anglo-Saxons and other Europeans. The allure of Constantinople, with its vast wealth and strategic location, made service in the Guard highly attractive. The Byzantine Emperors ensured that service in the Varangian Guard was rewarding, offering members high pay, regular gifts, and the opportunity to share in the spoils of war. This compensation, combined with the social prestige associated with serving the Byzantine Emperor, made joining the Varangian Guard a coveted position. The role of the Varangian Guard must also be viewed within the broader context of Viking expansion across Europe. The Norse were renowned for their far-reaching voyages, establishing settlements and trade routes across vast areas, from North America to the Russian steppes. By serving in the Varangian Guard, these warriors continued their tradition of exploration and military adventure, but this time under the aegis of the Byzantine Empire. Their service extended the cultural and economic reach of the Norse, while simultaneously benefiting the Byzantines, who gained a formidable military unit loyal directly to the emperor. Chapter 2. The Varangian Guard in Byzantine Society. The Varangian Guard's integration into Byzantine society was remarkably profound, reflecting the Byzantine Empire's historical openness to foreign influence and its strategic use of foreign military skills. Upon their arrival, the Varangians were granted quarters in Constantinople, strategically placed near the imperial palace. This proximity to the heart of Byzantine power not only facilitated their primary role as the emperor's bodyguards, but also allowed them a unique vantage point from which to influence and be influenced by the sophisticated urban culture of Constantinople. Depiction of the Varangian Guard in the 11th century chronicle of John Skylitzes. The duties of the Varangian Guard were diverse and critical to the stability of the Byzantine Empire. Primarily, they served as the personal bodyguards to the emperor, entrusted with his safety during both public appearances and in private. Besides this protective role, they were often used as elite shock troops in military campaigns, leveraging their fierce reputation and combat skills to lead offensive charges or defend strategic positions. In peacetime, they also played ceremonial roles, showcasing the imperial prestige and the multicultural makeup of the empire. Culturally, the Norse members of the Varangian Guard brought with them distinct traditions and practices from their homelands, which influenced Byzantine customs. This cultural exchange was bi-directional. While the Norsemen adopted elements of Byzantine dress, language, and Orthodox Christianity, they also left their mark on Byzantine music, art, and military tactics. This integration was facilitated by the social interactions within the bustling markets, public baths, and religious institutions of Constantinople, where Varangians would have mingled with local Byzantines. Economically, the Varangian Guard also had a significant impact on both the Byzantine Empire and their homelands through trade, looting, and remittances. Their constant movement between Scandinavia and the Byzantine Empire promoted the exchange of goods such as furs, wax, honey, and precious metals. The wealth they accumulated through service, often obtained from military campaigns and looting, was frequently sent back home or used to procure luxury goods, contributing to the economic prosperity in their native regions. This circulation of wealth not only bolstered trade routes across Europe, but also reinforced the economic dimensions of the Norse diaspora. Chapter 3. The Guard's loyalty and relationship with the emperors. The Varangian Guard's loyalty to the Byzantine emperors was a cornerstone of their service, underpinning their critical role as the emperor's personal bodyguards. This loyalty was heavily incentivized by the direct payments from the imperial treasury, as well as the privileges and protections afforded to them under the emperor's aegis. The personal safety of the emperor and his immediate family often rested in the hands of these formidable warriors, a testament to the trust placed in them despite their foreign origins. Several emperors had notably close and impactful relationships with the Varangian Guard. Emperor Basil II, the founder of the Guard, used them effectively to consolidate his power and quell rebellions, forging a precedent of imperial reliance on the Varangians. His successors continued to use the Guard as a counterbalance to potentially disloyal native troops and as a key military resource. Emperor Alexios S. Komnenos, for instance, relied heavily on his Varangian bodyguards during the tumultuous period of the 11th century, a time marked by extensive military campaigns and internal strife. There are numerous historical anecdotes that illustrate the deep loyalty of the Varangian Guard to the Byzantine emperors. One of the most poignant is the story of the Varangian Guard during the 1081 Battle of Dyrrhachium, where they fought fiercely against Norman invaders to protect Emperor Alexios I. Another notable event occurred during the Fourth Crusade, when, despite the overwhelming forces of the Crusaders, the Varangians remained with Emperor Alexios IV Doukas Mortzouphlos until Constantinople fell in 1204 CE. However, the history of the Varangian Guard is not without instances of betrayal and complex loyalties. The shifting political landscapes of the Byzantine Empire sometimes saw members of the Guard involved in palace intrigues and coups, often driven by their own survival instincts or manipulated by rival factions within the empire. The allegiance of the Varangians could be complex, influenced by the personal charisma and policies of the reigning emperor, as well as their own mercenary interests. Chapter 4. Military exploits and campaigns of the Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard was instrumental in several key military campaigns and battles that shaped the Byzantine Empire's history. Their reputation as elite warriors was not just due to their formidable presence on the battlefield, but also their strategic deployment in pivotal military engagements. One of the most significant battles involving the Varangian Guard was the Battle of Manzikert in 1071 CE. Although the Byzantines suffered a catastrophic defeat against the Seljuk Turks, the Varangian Guard fought valiantly, demonstrating their loyalty and combat skills even in the face of overwhelming odds. This battle marked a turning point in Byzantine history, leading to increased reliance on the Guard in subsequent military endeavors. The military prowess of the Varangian Guard was further demonstrated during the Siege of Constantinople in 1204 CE, part of the Fourth Crusade. The Varangians were central to the city's defense, holding key sections of the walls against the Crusaders. Their use of heavy axes and tight shield formations allowed them to repel repeated assaults, showcasing not just their strength, but also their strategic acumen in defensive warfare. Another notable engagement was their role in the Battle of Dyrrhachium in 1081 CE against the Normans. Under the command of Emperor Alexios III, the Varangian Guard was deployed as the rearguard, a strategic move that utilized their robust defensive capabilities to cover the Byzantine army's retreat. Their disciplined stance and fierce counterattacks were critical in ensuring the army's partial withdrawal without catastrophic losses. The strategies employed by the Varangian Guard typically involved direct, aggressive assaults, making the most of their physical prowess and heavy weaponry. Their battle tactics often included forming the front line in assaults, breaking enemy shields and formations with their large axes, and creating openings for the Byzantine forces to exploit. These tactics were not only effective in open battle, but also in sieges and urban warfare, where their ability to fight in confined spaces could be used to great effect. Chapter 5. The Weapons and Warfare of the Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard was renowned for its distinctive weaponry and armor, which set them apart from other military units of their time, and played a crucial role in their effectiveness as elite warriors within the Byzantine Empire. The most iconic weapon of the Varangian Guard was the Dane axe, a large, two-handed axe capable of delivering devastating blows. This weapon was not only a symbol of their Norse heritage, but also a highly practical tool in battle, capable of breaking through the shields and armor of their enemies. In addition to the Dane axe, the Varangians were also equipped with swords, spears, and bows. Their armor typically consisted of chainmail hauberks, which provided a significant level of protection while allowing for the mobility required in their dual role as guards and shock troops. Helmets, often conical with a nose guard, were also standard, offering protection without sacrificing visibility or mobility. The combat techniques and strategies of the Varangian Guard were adapted to the strengths of their weaponry. The use of the Dane axe, for example, influenced their approach to both offensive and defensive engagements. In offensive maneuvers, they would form tight ranks and use the momentum of their axes to break enemy lines. Defensively, they could hold positions against significantly larger forces, creating impenetrable walls with their shields and axes. Comparatively, the Varangian Guard's equipment and tactics were distinct from those of contemporary Byzantine and enemy forces. Byzantine soldiers typically used lighter, more versatile weapons like the Kontarion, a long spear, and carried lighter shields. This contrasted with the heavier, more impactful armament of the Varangians. Additionally, while Byzantine tactics often emphasized speed and coordination, the Varangians were prized for their brute strength and endurance, making them effective in direct confrontations and as the empire's last line of defense. The effectiveness of the Varangian Guard's weaponry and tactics can also be contrasted with those of other contemporary European warriors. For instance, while Western European knights favored mounted combat with lances and heavily armored cavalry, the Varangians maintained a preference for infantry combat, which suited the urban and rugged terrains of the Byzantine battlefields more effectively. Chapter 6. Daily Life and Culture. Among the Varangian Guard. Daily life among the Varangian Guard in Byzantium was marked by a blend of military rigor and cultural integration, which together shaped a distinctive lifestyle for these elite warriors. Stationed in Constantinople, the Varangians lived in barracks located close to the imperial palace, ensuring they were readily available for both ceremonial duties and the emperor's personal protection. Their daily routine was structured around military drills, guard duties, and maintaining their weapons and armor, which was vital for their role as the emperor's personal bodyguards. The living conditions within the barracks were relatively good compared to other military units of the time. The Byzantine emperors valued the guard highly, reflected in their well-maintained living quarters and the quality of their provisions. Meals were typically robust, featuring a mixture of local Byzantine cuisine and elements from Norse culinary traditions, such as meats, fish, and bread, often accompanied by beer or wine. Social interactions within the Guard were influenced by their diverse origins, as the unit included not only Scandinavians, but also Anglo-Saxons, Russians, and other Europeans by the later period. This cultural blend impacted their social cohesion and individual identities, as members were bonded by their shared profession and loyalty to the emperor, yet retained distinctive cultural practices from their homelands. Norse languages and customs were preserved within the Guard, and these warriors often celebrated traditional feasts and observed their native religious rites alongside Orthodox Christianity. Recreation and entertainment played a significant role in the life of the Varangian Guard. Physical training and mock combat were common, both for skill development and leisure. Additionally, gambling, storytelling, and drinking were popular pastimes, reflecting their cultural heritage and providing relief from the demands of military life. The Varangians also participated in Constantinople's vibrant social life, including festivals and public spectacles such as chariot races in the Hippodrome, where they sometimes served as special guards. Disciplinary practices within the Guard were strict but fair. The Varangians were expected to maintain a high standard of conduct due to their close proximity to the emperor and their role in public ceremonies. Punishments for misconduct could include fines, incarceration, or even expulsion from the Guard, depending on the severity of the offense. Discipline was enforced not only to maintain order, but also to uphold the elite status and reputation of the Guard within the Byzantine military and society. Chapter 7. Harald Hardrada. The Varangian Guard, renowned for their fierce combat skills and loyalty, counted among their ranks several notable members who left indelible marks on history. These figures not only exemplify the Varangian Guard's elite status, but also highlight the diverse backgrounds and adventures that characterized these warriors. Harald Hardrada, whose name means hard ruler in Old Norse, is one of the most famous members of the Varangian Guard, embodying the adventurous and martial spirit that characterized these elite warriors. Before becoming the King of Norway, Harald served as a member of the Varangian Guard in the mid-11th century, a period that significantly shaped his later life and reign. Harald joined the Varangian Guard after fleeing Norway following a defeat at the Battle of Stiklestad in 1030. In Byzantium, he quickly distinguished himself for his bravery and combat skills, rising through the ranks to become the commander of the Guard. His time with the Varangians was marked by numerous military exploits and adventures across the Mediterranean and the Middle East, contributing to the expansion and defense of the Byzantine Empire. One of the most notable episodes during Harald's service was his participation in campaigns in Sicily, where he led the Varangians against Arab forces. His leadership and valor in these campaigns were widely recognized, earning him a significant fortune and a formidable reputation. Harald's experiences in Byzantium were not just limited to military engagements. He was also involved in imperial politics, navigating the complex and often dangerous intrigues of the Byzantine court. Harald's story is filled with tales of individual heroism and adventure. According to saga accounts, he once escaped from imprisonment in Constantinople by swimming down the Bosporus, a feat that only added to his legendary status. His wealth and fame gathered in the service of the Byzantine Emperors enabled his return to Norway, where he eventually claimed the throne and became known as one of Norway's most formidable kings. Harald's adventures continued even after his time with the Varangian Guard, culminating in his invasion of England in 1066, where he died at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This battle is often overshadowed by the more famous Battle of Hastings, which occurred just weeks later, but it was equally pivotal in shaping the medieval history of England. Chapter 8. The Decline and Disbandment of the Varangian Guard. The decline and eventual disbandment of the Varangian Guard were influenced by a combination of internal and external factors that reflected the changing political and military landscape of the Byzantine Empire. By the 13th century, the once mighty Byzantine Empire was facing a myriad of challenges that gradually undermined the effectiveness and relevance of the Varangian Guard. One of the key factors leading to the decline of the Varangian Guard was the financial strain on the Byzantine Empire. The empire's resources were severely depleted by constant wars and the efforts to repel invaders, notably during and after the Fourth Crusade, when Constantinople was sacked in 1204 CE. This fiscal pressure made it increasingly difficult to maintain the salaries and privileges of the Varangian Guard, diminishing their numbers and operational capacity. Additionally, the changing political landscape within the Byzantine Empire significantly affected the Varangian Guard. The weakening central authority and frequent changes in leadership led to decreased stability and shifts in loyalty among the various factions within the empire, including the Varangians. Their role as imperial bodyguards became less central, as power increasingly devolved to regional leaders and other military units that were often cheaper to maintain and more directly connected to the prevailing political factions. The military landscape of the Byzantine Empire was also transforming. The rise of mercenary troops and the changing nature of warfare, which increasingly favored more mobile and versatile military units, made the traditionally infantry-based Varangian Guard seem outdated. Their combat style, heavily reliant on shock tactics and the use of large axes, was less effective against the more organized and technologically advanced armies that the Byzantines faced in their later years. The disbandment of the Varangian Guard was not officially recorded, but it is generally believed to have occurred sometime after the Byzantine Empire's temporary collapse in 1204 CE, and during the fragmented and weakened state of the empire in the following decades. The absence of the Varangian Guard from historical records post-13th century suggests that they gradually faded from prominence as the empire's fortunes declined. The immediate effects of the disbandment of the Varangian Guard were felt in the weakening of the imperial guard function and a decrease in the ceremonial grandeur of the Byzantine court. Their absence also marked the end of an era of elite Norse influence within the Byzantine military. Without their formidable presence and loyalty, the Byzantine emperors found themselves increasingly vulnerable to internal dissent and external threats, contributing to the further decline of the empire until its eventual fall in 1453 CE. Chapter 9. Legacy and Historical Impact of the Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard's enduring legacy is evident in modern culture, historical scholarship, and popular media, underscoring their significant impact on history beyond their military exploits in the Byzantine Empire. Their distinct identity as Norse warriors serving an Eastern Roman emperor captures the imagination, blending the mystique of the Viking with the splendor of Byzantium. Archaeological findings and historical texts have been crucial in reconstructing the story of the Varangian Guard. Excavations in Istanbul, particularly around the Great Palace of the Byzantine Emperors, have unearthed weaponry and artifacts that are attributed to the Norse culture of the Guard. Additionally, runic inscriptions found on the marbles of the Hagia Sophia are believed to have been carved by members of the Guard, offering a unique personal glimpse into their presence in the imperial capital. Historical texts, such as the Alexiad by Anna Komnene, provide detailed accounts of their roles and activities, painting a vivid picture of their integration into Byzantine life and their influence on the military and political events of the time. Moreover, the Varangian Guard continues to be a subject of interest in academic and popular histories, symbolizing the cultural and military exchanges that were possible in the medieval world. Their service in the Byzantine Empire exemplifies how the movement of peoples and the mingling of cultures could result in a dynamic integration, where loyalty and martial prowess were as critical as cultural identity. The legacy of the Varangian Guard thus extends far beyond their historical military function. They represent a fascinating facet of medieval history, embodying the complexities of cultural interaction and the fluidity of identity in a period often characterized by rigid divisions. Their story enriches our understanding of the past, providing a compelling narrative of adventure, loyalty, and the interconnected nature of the medieval world.
We offer you deep historical information from History on YouTube channel. Subscribe. Now don't forget to turn on notifications.